Tony from Georgie's Gorgeous Gifts, and today we're going to be stenciling on EcoPour. I've seen a few crafters do this videos on this over the last few weeks. So Tracy at Mini Scenes GB and Wendy at Toonfish Crafts. I will drop the links for both those videos in the description. So here I'm just using some vinyl and my Cricut Joy to do the stencil. So it's a flower stencil, so here it is. After it's been weeded, so that's the effect that we are going for, that I've just showed you. So we're going to take the stencil off and pop it onto the EcoPour, making sure that it's stuck down really well. So you need to make sure that none of the embossing powder can get underneath the stencil, so I'm really pushing that down. Don't worry, it does come off pretty easily. So this is just normal ink that come in a pack with some stamps that I had. The Stays On ink is probably the better ink for embossing powder. The links for everything that I'm using will be in the description. So I just cut a little bit of a sponge, dipped it in the ink, and just went at this stencil, trying my hardest not to get the ink anywhere else other than just in that central bit, because anywhere the ink goes, that's where the embossing powder will stick to. So in order for embossing powder to work, you need heat, extreme heat. So you can use this on resin, but obviously with extreme heat, resin tends to go bendy. So EcoPour is perfect for this. So this is the gold embossing powder. Don't worry about using it sparingly because we will be putting most of this back in the pot. So just want to make sure that it's all covered, and then I'm going to tip the excess off onto a piece of paper because we don't need that, and then I'm going to pop that back into the jar. You can see this pot is still quite full, and I've had this, like I say, since before Christmas, and used it quite a bit. So now comes the fun part. So we're going to be using extreme heat to make this work. So I'm going to get my heat gun. This is an industrial heat gun because I've used the small ones and I've stuck the buttons with resin together and it doesn't work, or they I just bought a named one, and it packed up after about a week and a half of using it. So anyway, just putting the heat onto the stencil, being careful not to melt the stencil, so every now and again I'm just taking the heat away. It does take a lot of heat to melt this, so you can go at it, but you can see the little bubbles rising, so that's how the embossing powder works. You'll see it changing from like a glitter powder to like a solid effect. The more heat that you put in. So right, I'll go at it, get the majority of it done with the stencil on, and then I peel the stencil away, being careful because it is still hot, but you can see the powder starting to take effect. So I thought, right, I'll take the stencil off and then I will blast it with some more heat. So you can see how easy it comes off. Being careful not to smudge it, although the embossing powder is stuck to the coaster, it's not like glitter. So I'm just giving it a bit of a clear up. I did get a little bit of ink on places that I didn't want. But then afterwards I cleaned it off with a bit of a brush, and then I blasted it again with the full heat from my heat gun, and that's when it really started to take effect. There are some photos at the end with the end result, but I think this is a really easy, simple way of creating beautiful pictures on coasters. If you haven't already subscribed, if you can, hit the subscription button. It doesn't cost you anything. I'd really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Happy crafting. I'm Tony from Georgie's Gorgeous Gifts. See you soon.